Now, one of the earliest videos on the channel from 2 years ago was a walk from Kempston Hardwick to Bedford, where I walked across the grounds of what will become the future Universal Studios theme park. And I'm on the train to Bedford right now, where I'm going to change to the Marston Vale Line, which will give me an opportunity to look out of the window to see if they've made any progress with that. Today though, I'm heading to Bow Brickhill to begin another walk, where hopefully by the end of today I will have visited the 3 remaining stations on the Marston Vale Line that I have not been to. So this line opened in 1846 and was originally known as the Varsity Line, that connected the 2 major university cities of England together, Oxford and Cambridge. But most of it closed in the 1960s, and they are now looking at restoring that line. This section remains though, and in 1905 a selection of small halt stations opened, including Bow Brickhill. But upon the restoration of this line, this one might actually close, because they might shift Woburn Sand Station, which is the next one down the line, slightly nearer to this one. And so to speed up journey times, it won't be the only one to close. Quite a few of them, I think all of the ones which basically opened in 1905, will close. This station still seems to have the London Midland version of the National Rail logo up there, because they had a very black colour scheme to them rather than the green that London North Western Railway has nowadays. This was at first the only station on the line to have staggered platforms, but in 2004 another couple of stops on the line got that same treatment. So I am following a Saturday Walkers Club route today. I will leave a link to that walk in the description below so you can follow along with the map. And it's quite pertinent that I'm doing so because this line isn't actually open on a Sunday. And I could take that road into the village of Bow Brickhill, but I think there's a public footpath across the fields just over here. It's a bit treacherous to walk right beside that road though, but I have managed to find the footpath, which is good. So you can see that this path does run adjacent to the road, which is right behind that hedge up there, but I have just spotted what looks to be a possible village sign, and I like to get a photograph of them, but I'm not about to go all the way back around, so unfortunately I think we're going to have to miss that out. Oh, hello. This is a good start to the walk. How are you doing? Oh, this is adorable. I don't want to leave. Look what it's done to me. I'm going to have cat hairs and dirt on me all day now. Oh, I do have a slight path in the suburbs. I'm thinking of going to that road and getting a shot of the village sign. Oh, go on then. I'll slightly jog to speed it up a bit. There we go. I wouldn't have wanted to miss it out, especially as it has such a great name, Bow Brickhill. Though it does feel like I've undone all the progress I've made so far, but hey, at least I got to see a cat by taking the other path through the fields. It is a very, very warm, sunny day though, so perhaps jogging wasn't the best idea, but I do have a large selection of woodland near the beginning of this walk, so hopefully it should be quite cool in there, in the shade. And rather appropriately, there are some bricks in the ground beside this stile here, which makes me wonder whether the name does derive from some sort of brickworks that used to be around here, because I know at one of the other stops on the line, Stewartby, there was one there. There used to be a selection of chimneys. I say it will be quite cool in here, but actually it's very hilly, so it still becomes quite tiring. It doesn't help that I'm wearing a hoodie, but that's only because it can still get quite cold in the mornings or heading home in the evenings waiting for a train on a deserted platform. I am at least rewarded with a nice view from in here. even if that view is towards Milton Keynes. I have been there back in 2020, but I would like to go again because it is a very intriguing place, and surprisingly there are some nice parts to it, believe it or not. Wow, this is such a steep descent. I'm sort of worried it's going to go back uphill again afterwards. I'd rather you didn't. Oh, okay, I'm actually going to have to put the camera away because this might be very slippery. These woods are very impressive though. I'm loving walking through here. There are so many bikes though. I've pretty much just seen one other walker and it was a dog walker. Look how many tyre tracks there are in the sand. Oh no, it is going back uphill. Well, it's got to be done, I suppose. And now it's downhill again. I don't know whether to trust this anymore. But I can see why it would be fun to bring your bike here. All these hills. Though you got to be very careful. Could be quite dangerous. Wow, thank God someone's built a little plank bridge. Because that wouldn't be very nice to walk through. This would be very narrow to get your bike on. Especially with a little bump like that at the end. Wow, look how muddy this could have been back in winter. I'm glad it's all dried up and we've had a lot of sun recently, because I remember on my Bedford walk 2 years ago, which was around the same time, I think it was even in May, early May, I did come across some flooded woodland, which was a bit annoying. Luckily, that does not seem to be the case today. Now this is actually the first clip I've recorded in a couple of miles because there wasn't a whole lot to see or talk about along the way. It was just a very nice rural stretch where I managed to kind of switch off a little bit and really enjoy the moment, especially as I feel like you've already seen enough woods so far. But I have just spotted on a public footpath sign that I am in the Greensand country, and I do know of a Greensand Ridge footpath that's about 40 miles in length that starts back at Leighton Buzzard and ends in a place called Gamlingay in Cambridgeshire. Now I'm currently walking the Greensand Way, which is a 108-mile footpath from Hazelmere in Surrey to Ham Street in Kent, and that is a very hilly route. So I shouldn't be surprised, now that I'm on the Greensand Ridge, that the woods was very hilly today. But I am now descending down into a village called Woburn, which is quite historical. So Woburn is a very quaint place. It was once an important rest stop on a route from London to Northampton. There were many inns in the area for people to stay in. It even had the first 24-hour post office outside of London. But with the arrival of the railways and the canals, this place declined, especially as the West Coast Main Line and the Grand Union Canal were built just to the west of here and linked London and Northampton together. Well, there's still a coach route through here that links it to London. I don't know if it stops here though, I doubt it. The population of the village nowadays is only about 900, but despite it being so small, there are still some rather substantial tourist attractions nearby. Well, this is a very fine church. Seems to be some sort of gargoyle statues up top. I'm loving the red door on it, and it looks like there's a moat surrounding it. I've never seen that with a church before. Okay, it's not like it completely surrounds the property and it's full of water or anything. The church is just built on slightly higher ground. You know you're entering a pretty special area when the entrance looks quite special like this. Wow, well this is delightful already, and we've not even got to the attraction in the area. There's some deer over there. That's fantastic. So I'm on the grounds of the Woburn estate. I'm passing by its old stables here because I'm heading for its main attraction, which is Woburn Abbey. This is really nice, but it's also a little bit confusing because the public footpaths don't take you directly towards the Abbey. Like, technically I'm not allowed to cross over the grass there, even though there's a public footpath over there, which will take me in the direction I want to go. This is the first time I've actually seen a footpath sign for the Greensand Ridge walk. I like that it's represented by a deer. That's rather fitting considering where we are. And I can see the Abbey just over the crest of this hill, but I might not go any further because I'm going to have to backtrack because of the public footpath situation. It's a grand old building though. I'm glad I've come up to have a look at it. It's superb. I don't think I'd even be able to get a better shot of it anyways because the public footpath heads directly in that direction. It doesn't actually go up to the Abbey. And I don't want to head that way anyways because I want to start heading back north and I can't even cut across the grounds here, so I'm going to have to go the long way back. And I understand it's a private estate and all that, and you want to keep it as like a reserve for the deer, but it does feel like it could be a little bit more opened up to the public. Like that path there is just a private road. That would save me time if that was a public footpath. I did think about kind of cutting across on one of them private roads, but I'll respect their wishes and stick to the public footpaths, even if that does add on distance and time to the walk. Now, the original Woburn Abbey dates from 1145, but I think this is mostly a rebuild from the 18th century. During World War II, though, most of the house was demolished, but I don't think it was necessarily by a bomb like you might expect. I think it was a case of dry rot, and it opened up to the public for the first time in 1955, I think as a way to try and get funds to restore the Abbey. And I think even in recent years it's gone through a little bit of that. It's looking great right now though. Why have I never noticed how long a swan's neck is? I had no idea, walking up to this, what this was going to be. But I didn't think that it would be a memorial to Woburn Park Airfield, which I didn't know existed, 1926 to 1947. Last year we came across so many old airfields, and yeah, I had no idea about this one. Oh, rather fittingly, there is a plane going over right now. Now, as well as Woburn Abbey, you have another attraction around here in the form of Woburn Safari Park, which I think is on the other side of them fences up there. I would love to see some animals, but I feel like the deer might be the only ones I'm going to be able to see. Now, the safari park opened in 1970 as a way, yet again, to try and raise funds to restore the Abbey. And I wonder if it's very much like driving through the wilds of Africa or somewhere, because I do believe they have elephants and giraffes and all sorts in there, but I don't think I'm going to get a good look in because of a discrepancy with another footpath. Now, back in June 2024, they diverted one of the footpaths further away from the safari park, I guess because they didn't want people getting a free look at the animals, but also more for the animals' safety, because you don't want to startle them, especially at night time if you're passing through. And that makes me wonder, because I did my Kempston Hardwick to Bedford walk back in May 2024. So if I did this one first, perhaps I would have gotten a better look. But if I then did that walk later, would I've maybe not seen as much of what is the Universal Studios theme park grounds because of perhaps they've started construction on it or something. So either way, beautiful day, beautiful walk. I'm still really enjoying this. This would have been the route I was taking anyways, but it is also a little bit of a gamble just to see if I can actually spot any animals. I mean, look, I can see that people are driving through in there. I can't spot anything yet. There's also someone driving down this road. I mean, I'm close enough to the safari park here, and I have the high ground, but I can't really seem to make out anything. And if there were giraffes and elephants in there, you know, I feel like they would stand out. Maybe they're hiding around the other side. It almost feels like I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I do have another high vantage point. But it just looks like it's deer down there on the green. Oh, well, it does seem like I do have some animals on the public footpath, because I've got a goat ahead of me there. Oh, and there's a little baby one. That's adorable. Oh. This is enough for me. This has made this walk. It seems this is actually the main entrance into Woburn Safari Park. I didn't realise I would pass right by it. So I guess this might be where the public footpath is, right behind, which is no more. Wow, it's £48 for an all-inclusive ticket today. Coming up to 5 PM, and this feels very dead. For such a big tourist attraction, you would think it'd be very busy out here, but not right now, because everyone's either in there or they've already left for the day. So there's just nobody here. No, it's just really quite weird. I think it's here where the public footpath would have been. Yeah, I think this definitely would have been it in there. But it is no more, and I can't even really cheese my way in either. But that's okay. New route. I guess that's us. This is still going to be a nice walk either way. I mean, just look at it. It's beautiful. So here we are. Here's my new left turn, public footpath. Up the hill. Ooh. That might give me a view into the safari park. We've come a little ways from it though. Let's go in and have a look. So it seems like I've got the same kind of view as before, with the green and the deer on it down there. I think the public footpath before took you right beside the elephants, so I presume they're just down there in that valley by that building, so that's why I can't see them. But to be fair, I've seen more than I would have expected to anyways, so I guess I can't be too disheartened by that. And nonetheless, I mean, just look, this is a gorgeous footpath to be taken. There looks to be some sort of Go Ape course up there. I'm wondering if that's actually part of the safari park. Is that included in your all-inclusive ticket? Okay, and now my public footpath turns right. So I'm going to assume, yes, especially as it's saying new route on there, that this is where I would have come out from before if I was following the perimeter of the safari park. Oh, there's a little... Oh, you just missed it, but there was a little muntjac there. Oh wait, looks like there's one way down on the road as well. See, intriguingly, this still looks open. And so I wonder how far would I actually be able to go down it before it's blocked off. Maybe you could get up to it that way. Who knows? Well, I have been in the Woburn estate for a long time, but I'm finally leaving it, and from here it's a pretty simple walk in mostly a straight line towards the village and the station. This is a nice little touch and memorial here. Just about to take this public footpath, and I stopped to read this sign. As you walk along this path, you will pass a point on your left some 200 yards further on, where during World War II in the early hours of 9th of September 1941, a British bomber crashed in flames, killing Sergeant Ford Roney, aged 23, and Flight Sergeant Tony Barker, aged 20. Wow. The other two members of the crew, Sergeant E. Morgan and Sergeant J. Mitchell, survived by bailing out and landed close to this spot. As you pass by, please remember these two young airmen who paid the ultimate sacrifice for their country and our future. I found an old telephone box turned defibrillator and little local library where there is a little map of Aspley Guys, and that is the little village that I am now walking up to. Oh no, you weren't supposed to go back on yourself. Open up, please. I'm at the end of Spinney Lane,
there's the village, and there's the station. But the actual SWC walk continues over the golf course towards Woburn Sands station, which I'm not going to do.
Well, Abbey, guys, is another quaint little village. Maybe not as quaint as Woburn, but still really charming. I've just got to walk right up there to the station now. Usually road walks to the station right at the end can be a little bit tedious, but this is actually rather lovely, especially right by this church. So I've made it to Abbey Guys station, and this was one of the ones opened in 1905, which then gained a staggered platform in 2004, unlike Bow Brickhill, which had it from the start. And I presume the Bletchley bound is the original platform, because there's none over on that side by the station cottage today. And the Bedford bound one does look a little bit new. And it's a good thing that I didn't need to catch a train from that platform yet, because I would have missed it. The barriers are down, and there's the train. I mean, I could have ran for it if I really wanted to. Uh-oh. I think they might wanted to. Yeah, the guard waited. How nice. Woburn station, not Woburn Sands. So I was going to end the walk at Woburn Sands station and then catch the train here and reverse, because I would have only had about 10 minutes to do so. Considering the train to Bedford just arrived, I do only have 10 minutes here. But I was going to do that under the assumption that I was going to come out here today by changing trains at Bletchley. I didn't do that. I come from the other end at Bedford, so now I'm going to do this in reverse instead, which means I'm going to have more time at Woburn Sands, about 45 minutes. But that's okay, because we've not ended the walk there. So I've not taken a walk in that area, so I've got more time to explore now. Oh, and of course, Woburn itself is quite a while away. This place used to just be called Hogsty End, but then the Woburn Sands name, of course, derives from the green sand ridge around here. So there we go. That is every station on the Marston Vale Line visited, ending at Woburn Sands, which is one of the original stops on the line from 1846, and you can tell that from its timber-framed station building, which apparently used to be a coster. The other original stops on the line include Fenny Stratford, Lidlington, Ridgemont, Stewartby and Bedford St John's, and I think just them are the ones which are going to remain once the line is upgraded as part of East West Rail and the full route is reinstated from Oxford to Cambridge. Well, all of them apart from Fenny Stratford's. I think Bletchley is just going to end up replacing that one. All the other stops, of course, date from 1905, but there used to be three more. Wootton Broadmead, Husbourne Crawley, and Kempton and Elston, I think. Some great names on this line. Now, I usually like to take walks where I am going to be using new stations for me. So although I have other walks planned on the Marston Vale Line, I probably won't do them for quite some time. But if the alarm bell ever rings and the other stops will close, I will probably come out here one last time just to see them and get some record of them before they close. And I think once they do and the new stops open, they might be in slightly different locations. I think this one will be closer to Bow Brickhill to kind of cover the loss of that one, so people in that area still have a station relatively nearby. Oh yeah, I guess I should quickly explain my history with this line and how I've ticked off the other stations on the Marston Vale Line before, because I first travelled on it in 2019 when they brought over former London Underground District Line trains and ran them on this line, but just refurbished. And I had changed at Bletchley, gotten off at Lidlington, went to a viewpoint above the village, got the train behind to Millbrook, walked through the country park to Stewartby, where I had a look at the brickwork chimneys, then went to the end of the line at Bedford, where I took a walk through the town back to Bedford St John's, and then jumped out at Ridgemont on the way home, because that has a really nice like heritage room full of like railway paraphernalia and all that. My train from Ridgemont that day got stranded just before the level crossing for a good 10 or 15 minutes. The barriers stayed down. I thought I was going to be stranded here, and then when the train did arrive, it had no lights. This one has no lights. I just realised that, saying it now. The next time I was on this line was in 2022 at the end of a Grand Union Canal walk from Cheddington. I just jumped on the District line, sorry, Marston Vale Line, just one stop from Fenny Stratford back to Bletchley. And then the last time was on video in 2024, the Kempston Hardwick to Bedford walk, and now these three. Now today hasn't been a walk which I thought would be as long as it was, because it didn't necessarily feel like we visited that many locations. It was more just the wood at the start and then pretty much the Woburn estate for the whole day, apart from Astley Guy's village at the end. But it's just these places were so large, there was so much to still see and explore, and it was a lot of fun. That was a really, really nice walk, and you can do some fantastic walks along this line. I love it. I do really enjoy the Marston Vale Line. It's a bit of a quirky railway, I would say. And I've noticed at both Astley Guy's and Woburn Sands, there are a lot of people just hanging around, a lot of them with cameras as well. And so I suspect they might be train spotters, and there might be some sort of special train passing through. Well, I have 45 minutes here, so hopefully, if there is, it will come through before I leave. So now I'm kind of wondering whether I should actually head down into Woburn Sands a little bit and explore, or whether I should just wait here by the station. That's why I'm doing it outside the station. It's too busy on the platform. So either way, thank you for watching this walk and this video. Subscribe, because there'll be more adventures coming soon, and hopefully I'm going to leave you with a closing shot of a different type of train, maybe?